Document posting routines are used to post documents. And let's have a look at an overview. So you might remember from the posting data flow that users can create documents using document tables and document pages. When we post a document posting routine is responsible to create the journal line or journal lines, and those journal lines will be posted and transferred to ledger entries and registers. We already had a look that we have here post line, check line, post batch. But if we start from a document page and we click on the post button, then another code unit is responsible to post the document, and those are the document posting routines. You can also look at it from a practical point of view. Imagine that we are working from a sales order. Then on our sales order, the information is stored in the sales header table, and the lines are stored in the sales line table, on which we might have different types of lines. I can sell a GL account, an item, a resource, and so on. When I click on the post button, the code unit needs to determine which journal line records it needs to use to then create the appropriate ledger entries and the link back to the general ledger entry. So imagine that we will post a sales order. What happens? Well, it's code unit 80, which is the sales post code unit. And the first thing that code unit will do is verify the document type. It will validate some information, determine the posted document numbers, lock the appropriate tables, already prepare the posted header, and it will also clear a posting buffer. And that posting buffer is a temp table it will use to store the information which needs to be passed along to the general ledger. So let's have a look at the sales post code unit. In the sales post code unit, we will receive our sales header record by making use of the table number property. Then if you go into the on-run trigger, you notice there is a publisher function in here. Then the posting and document date are validated, which is a function which will be called. The code unit then starts to clear a number of variables, get some extra information, delete some temp tables. And then right here, what we will do is we will process the header. So we will check and update the header, after which we will process the lines. So I will go now to this check and update function. And in the check and update function, we will check for some mandatory fields, as you can see, by calling a function and then some test fields. We'll set some posting flags, initiate a progress window that needs to be displayed. We're checking dimensions, checking restrictions. So the idea here is that we'll start the posting of a sales order or a sales document, but if something is not according to the business rules, we don't want to start the posting. So we are still checking some conditions. After we checked all of our conditions, after we checked the sales document, there is also a publisher function in here that you can use to subscribe to. After that, we will update the header. What will we do? We will try to determine the posting numbers, and we'll do that by calling the update posting numbers function. If I go to the definition there, then you notice that we use a number series management code unit to try to determine the posting number or the shipping number and so on. And to do that, the system will call the getNextNumber function of the number series management code units, in which we will store that in a posting number field of the header and then do a modify. So we do that in the update posting numbers function. So let's go back to where we were calling the update posting numbers function. So let me scroll back on top. Check and update is what we were doing, and in the check and update we were calling the posting numbers function. Here we are. All right, after this has been performed, we are ready to commit the header, so to save our modifications. And right before we commit, you also notice that there is another publisher that you have available in which you can also attach your own code. So right now we are processing the header, we verified some information, we cleared some variables, we determined the posting number, and now we are ready to continue. So we are processing the header, and we will now continue to start to process the lines. So code unit 80 will start a loop over all of the lines by making use of a repeat until statement. And there are a number of checks that will be performed. For example, do we need a sales shipment line? Is there already a shipment line that we need to use, or do we need to create a new one? On the line, are we selling an item or a resource or something else? Then we need to post that through the appropriate journal, and that information also needs to be added to the posting buffer. So let's have a look at the code. So we are back here in our code unit 80 sales post at the moment here in the code where we start to process the lines right after we processed the header. So we'll go here and have a look and find all of the lines. And we'll also use a counter to count them. And then there is also some business logic in which for certain orders lines might need to be merged. All right. Here you can see that we have a loop which starts in which we will process our sales lines. So for all of the sales lines that we find, we will start this loop. And as you can see here between the repeat and until statement, what will happen is that we'll show some progress to the user while we are posting each sales line individually by making use here of a post sales line function. In the post sales line function, we will find some more details on what needs to happen when we post a line. Of course, also the line needs to be tested. We need to make sure, can it be posted, yes and no, and then sometimes throw an error. There's also a publisher function in here in which you can still update the line before posting, test the updated sales line, some more tests and so on. And then at a certain moment we'll start the posting process. I will not go over all of this code one by one, but what happens actually in here is that depending if it's a GL account or an item or something else, we need to post it through the appropriate journal. So for example, if I go here, post item line, we know that the type of the line is an item, then some code will be executed to create the appropriate journal line and then also start the posting process. So what we are looking at right here is posting of the different lines, post sales line in this case, when we are posting a sales document. So in our document posting routine, we were posting the sales order, we processed the header, now we processed the lines. Now during the processing of the header and the line, some information was added into a temp table called the posting buffer, and the information in that table can be used to post to the general ledger. Now depending on the business logic, certain items might need to be combined, for example lines with the same GL account number or the same dimensions and posting groups, and that logic is also in the code units. So that's the next part of the code to go over the posting buffer table. Once that has been done, then we will finalize our posting. We need to check if the line is related to a job, and then we need to also post it through the job journal. If there is a shipment line, insert the shipment line and so on. And at the end, copy the sales line also to the posted tables to create the posted documents. We're still in the processing part of a sales order, and at the end, once we have all of that information in the posting buffer table, we are now ready to post it to the general ledger where some extra business logic will be performed. After that, we will update and delete the header and the line, so the unposted document will either be deleted or updated, and all of the changes will be committed. So here we are in the code again, where we are processing our sales lines. So actually our sales lines have been processed. There is some extra business logic in here, and then we are ready to start the finalize of the posting. And if you have a look here at the finalize posting function, you will notice that in this case for the sales header, we might need to insert tracking specifications, update the associate order, and so on, depending on the business logic and document types. And we'll also finalize in this case the posting. There is some code in here. Now we are also ready to start to close our progress window. So after the finalizing of the posting, we will commit our transactions, update some analysis views, and we also have a publisher function available here for you to intervene. And this is an example of the code that we find in this case, code unit 80, the sales post document to post an order or a sales related document.